All right, Seattle hockey fans. I'm here to tell you, we took not one, not two, but 3 L's over the weekend. Oh my goodness, this is a tough one. This is a tough podcast to record. I'm Erica Lindsay Ayala, your host of Locked On Kraken, who lost her bet to Bardown Beauties and Locked On Wild as the Seattle Kraken. I don't even know what the word is. They did not get the win against the Minnesota Wild. And as I mentioned, it was one of 3 losses on the weekend. Well, I guess I just mentioned 2 of them. So 3 losses on the weekend. But we also did have some gains on this Monday. So we're going to talk all about it on this episode of Locked on Kraken.
You are Locked On Kraken, your daily podcast on the Seattle Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We are the Seattle Kraken.
Hey to the hey, what do you say, Seattle hockey fans? Thanks as always for listening to Locked on Kraken and making us a part of your daily routine. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, more odds, and more lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. And where this episode starts is with Bardown Beauties, actually. That game against Minnesota was brutal. We're going to break it all down in the first, almost said first period. I guess that works. In the first period of this episode of Locked on Kraken. Then we're going to talk about the Dallas Stars game. Also a loss. Sorry. Spoiler alert. That was also a loss. And finally, some new additions to the Seattle Kraken, as we had some folks from the Charlotte Checkers. We're going to talk about the Checkers a little bit later in the week, but some familiar faces joining up in the ranks as we close out this inaugural season. So, fair is fair. I called out Bardown Beauties and Locked on Wild on Thursday's episode of Locked on Kraken. That led to a nice little social media exchange with Bardown Beauties, specifically Alexis of Bardown Beauties and Alexis Pearson. Listen, I can't even be mad. I cannot even be mad because honestly, I think this is a pretty good summary of the game and where things went wrong for the Seattle Kraken. So let's head over to Bardown Beauties.
It's Timberwolves game day, baby. But before we get to that, let's do our Beauties breakdown here, shall we? So, our bet with the Locked on Kraken crew. We came out on top. We get bragging rights until next season. And you know what? I know what got y'all, too. It was that 2-goal lead. Can never trust the 2-goal lead. Things were looking good. Things were looking promising. And the 2-goal lead came back to get you. So that's where you guys went wrong. We'll take it. We'll take the bragging rights, and we'll have to do this again next season because that was a lot of fun. So let's talk about this game for a second. Kirill Kaprizov has reached the 100-point mark for the Minnesota Wild. Absolutely incredible. We knew he was going to do it, and he finally did it. And that was so exciting. It was cool to see the fans applauding him. Really, really fun time. Second of all, Minnesota Wild get 50 wins on the season like I predicted at the midpoint of the season. I don't look super smart all the time, but sometimes I do, and this time is one of those times, so shout out to me. Shout out to me for that. I called that. I saw that coming from a mile away. The boys were getting 50 wins, and you know what? Hopefully they have a few more before it's all said and done. It was a good win last night because, like I said in my preview, you have to beat the teams like that who aren't doing anything come playoff time. They're not playing for anything. They're playing for individual achievements. And professional athletes are obviously never going to just give up on a game, even when there's nothing on the line. But you have to be able to come out on top of those kind of games because the Wild are still playing for something, that home ice advantage. And those 2 points mean something to the Minnesota Wild. Even though we know who we're playing in the first round, you want to try to get that home ice advantage. So well done to the Minnesota Wild last night. Really exciting game. Was able to catch a handful of it, even though I was at the Twins game. I did find a Wild game. I am that girl who, like, wherever I go, I'm like, turn the Wild game on. Turn it on right now. And I found one. I found a Wild game to watch, and it was a good time. So, go Wolves. I'm going to be at that game tonight. It's a whole weekend of sports, baby. So we are going to have a lot of fun at the Wolves game tonight. And hope you guys enjoyed the Wild game last night. Twins won as well. I mean, I was in attendance. I think that was on me. So you're welcome. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Hope you enjoy your Sunday. And stay tuned for your Beauties preview from Jesse against the Nashville Predators tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Fair is fair. We deserve that. Part of the reason I wanted to play Alexis's recap is because, quite honestly, it's a lot prettier than having to go through these stats. So, as Alexis mentioned, that 2-goal lead, it was feeling good. I was feeling good about calling everyone out. We were looking good. And then this happened. Oh my gosh. The second period. What even is life? 5 goals. We gave up a 5 spot in the second period. Oh my goodness. I had to stop watching after a while because you know what? Like Alexis said, that was on her. This might have been on me. For those who've been holding fast and staying true to Locked On Kraken, you know that often I talk about myself as being a mush. If you don't know what that comes from, it comes from a movie called A Bronx Tale, where there was a character where anytime he would make a bet, if he bet on a horse or, had money in something, you could guarantee that it would sink. It would absolutely fail. I mean, I'm a Mets fan. Do I even have to go on? Although they're having a not so bad season this year. I'm just saying. I somewhat jokingly say that because as a broadcaster, I do not believe in the broadcaster jinx, but as a fan, I do believe in the mush. So I kind of stopped watching live anyway. I still had the game on and I just was like, watching Grey's Anatomy while cooking dinner or prepping, my meal for the next day. So I maybe I'll take credit for that third goal, but it was pretty brutal. So let's see, Sprung and Yanni Gord got it started and then a bunch of guys from the Minnesota Wild. But who was it? Headshotless Maddie Beniers. When I tuned in again, or after that little break that I took, a little food prep break, it was Maddie Beniers on the power play, baby. I like this kid. I like this kid a lot. I also like what Dave Haxtell had to say after the game. Dave, my man, he's got some spice in him. Every once in a while, I think he's a little bit mild, like flavorless. But then he'll bring out just the facts. Facts on facts on facts. Here's what Dave Haxtell had to say after the Minnesota loss. Bad loss by the Seattle Kraken. Kind of reminding me of what we used to see. 6-3 loss by to the hands of the Minnesota, I almost said Timberwolves, excuse me, the Minnesota Wild. Dave Haxtell on his team's performance.
Well, they're going to get some life. They're a good team, and they had a lot of life in the second period. But I mean, we fed that, as well. And you don't need to do that. You can't do it. I mean, be blunt. We've played really good hockey over the last stretch here. I mean, second period, they were a team that was playing for a playoff position and seeding, and they played for real. And we played 20 minutes of shinny hockey. That's bottom line. I can go through every one of the goals against if you want, but I'm not going to do that. That's what it was.
Oh, we were playing shinny. Listen. I'm okay with that because you know what? They made a lot of foolish mistakes. We've talked about this teenager team. They got their most wins in franchise history, and all of a sudden they go back to what we don't want them to go back to. We want to go forward. I saw this IG story, right? Where the guy was like, do you know why manufacturers make the front window of your car bigger than the back? Because they want you to focus on what's in front of you, not be looking behind you all the time. Come on. Yeah, you got to be aware of your surroundings, but we're looking forward, baby. Come on, boys. So we were playing shitty. Look at this. The Wild had 5 power play opportunities, 3 for 5 there. Seattle Kraken, I mentioned Beniers got that power play goal. They were 1 for 2. 1 for 2 there. Shots on goal favored the Minnesota Wild. They had 35 shots. We had 28. So in this game, Matty Beniers did see his streak continue. But coming up next, we're going to talk about the second game of the weekend. The second game of the back-to-back, and I mentioned 3 losses. The first was to the Bardown Beauties and Locked On Wild. The second was to the Minnesota Wild, and the third to the Dallas Stars. So coming up, we'll talk about that, but then we'll talk about what we gained. We'll end on some good news and then get us ready for the week to come, because tomorrow's a game day, baby. So we will do that, but right now, tell you about our title sponsor for today, and that, of course, is BetOnline.net. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting stats and sports info. You can get league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs. And of course, we're getting ready for postseason NHL, baby. Let's go. Major League Baseball in action. Like I mentioned, my Mets not doing so bad for right now. BetOnline is your continued source for all of that. All of my favorite teams, all of your favorite teams. We're keeping an eye on the Mariners. We've got the Seattle Storm in action, the oil rain. I mean, they got to get up on the women's sports too. Am I right? Let's go BetOnline. Really be the number one source. So you can head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. As always, I want to thank you for making Locked On Kraken part of your daily routine, as we are your daily Seattle Kraken podcast. And a reminder that you can listen to Locked On now. You can listen to it, you can watch it on YouTube, and that's going to be your summary of everything happening in the National Hockey League. But we do it for other sports too. And just like everything on the Locked On Podcast Network, this is available for free for you and all of the rest of our listeners. And of course, let's thank to our sponsors. So thank you, sponsors. BetOnline. We'll get to the other one a little bit later. But right now, second loss in this one at the hands of the Dallas Stars. So let me get this ready for you. This was the Saturday game. The Minnesota Wilds, for those who weren't following on my little friendly wager with Bardown Beauties, Alexis Pearson actually agreed with me that the Seattle Kraken were going to get the win. I guess the Minnesota Wild said, hold my beer to that, because they took care of business in a big way in the second period. So what happened in Dallas on our back-to-back on the road, nonetheless? Sidebar. Another thing about Minnesota, we beat them twice at Climate Pledge Arena. Let's just keep that in the back of our mind for next season, okay? Because we're going to do this wager once again. All right, so we go to Dallas. How did things work out in Dallas? Rinse, wash, and repeat, a 2-goal lead. We got Riley Sheahan, who we'll hear from in a little bit. And the dude, the man, the myth, the legend, might be my MVP vote, and that's Yanni Gourde. Yanni Gourde got his 20th goal of the season. You can see the stats there. But then the second period, if not for the second period in our last 2 games, we might be on a 5-game win streak. Come on. Before, I was talking about a slow start. We've always kind of had trouble in the middle. Let's just be honest. But gosh, really kind of grinding my gears here. So let's look at these again. Not really successful on the power play. The Stars were 1 for 2, so 500 there. Shots were about even, but it was gnarly turnovers. Haxtell post-game after the Dallas game called out, that Donato goal. There were a few other things happening in this game that made it weird, but ultimately the guys, they really weren't trying to hear, too much about the distractions and all of that stuff about how the game was called or lack thereof. Had a few guys, take a high stick. You heard Dave Haxtell talk about that, or I should say we will hear Dave Haxtell talk about that. But let's head over to Riley Sheahan. We'll also hear a little bit from Chris Drieger, who got the start in this game. And then Dave Haxtell closing us out to give a quick recap of what we saw on Saturday in the loss, 3-2 loss to the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, it definitely felt good. I mean, it was a great face-off win by Morgan and a good shot through by Lars, and I just tried to get there and win a battle, so it was nice to get one. I mean, they put some pressure on us, and we were getting hemmed in our D zone, seemed like, and I felt like in the first we were having a little more success breaking out and kind of making those little plays in the D zone to relieve some pressure, and they did a good job of coming at us and pressuring us, and we weren't able to really break it, so it allowed them to get some momentum and kind of gave us a tough time for that second. So I mean, overall it wasn't a terrible game. We just kind of had some lapses where we took the foot off the gas and they capitalized.
Yeah, a little deja vu from last night. We got to obviously clean things up in the second there. I thought that we, when the third one went in, we did do a good job of locking it down and give ourselves. I was worried they weren't going to call it against because, Rig was kind of there, and we just kind of haven't really been getting those calls this year go our way. So it was, I had no chance of getting to the puck. I mean, he completely pushed me. Like, I think I was almost 6 feet out of the net. So, on a play like that, it's good to have, the refs have your back. I kind of was looking at the one ref, and he's kind of looking at me like, so it was good that he's like, well, I don't know what you want me to do there. I think, when they make the right call there, we kind of regroup and come out and score 2 after that. So obviously, our group responded, and great first there. I just need to continue that through the second and play a full 60.
So, I mean, there you go. Just, you heard the guys talking about little things here and there, losing focus in the second period, in the second set of 20 minutes. That can't happen. That can't happen at this point in the season. Matty Beniers did not score in Dallas, so that means that his point streak is over. It's over, Rock. Victor Rask, also Jared McCann, those point streaks are over. I think that what that tells me, small sample size, but what that tells me is that the Seattle Kraken are better when they incorporate Matty Beniers, Victor Rask, and of course, my main man, Jared McCann, in the mix. Actually, my main man, you know who my main man is. My main man is Ryan Donato. Had a cough up. But these things happen. All is forgiven. And we get back after it tomorrow. Okay. So, on tomorrow's episode, we're going to have a game day episode. I like to get crazy for the game day. I got a new setup here also. So we're going to have to get some Seattle Kraken, something going on here. Probably something over here. I feel like this is some dead wall space that we got to reuse. Anyway, not the point. Don't know why I went on that tangent. Coming up next on Locked On Kraken, we got some guys back. End of the season, trying to shake things up. So let's hear from Joey Decord, who's going to make his way back to the Seattle Kraken. But before we hear from Joey Decord, let me tell you about Built Bar. It's that time of the year. Literally, we're already past tax season. Like, nobody's thinking about their New Year's resolutions, but I tell you all the time, I'm working on creating good early morning practices and policies, making sure I get my hydration on, as well as making sure I'm getting good calories, not empty calories. And that's where Built Bar comes in, baby, because for a protein bar that's covered in chocolate, that has protein-infused marshmallows, aka the Puffs line, you're also getting 17 net grams of protein with only 4 net carbs, 4 grams of sugar and 130 calories. I happen to have a metabolism style where I can take in a lot of calories. I actually need to take in a lot of calories doing all these podcasts, a podcast a day for the Seattle Kraken. I've got Black Rosie Media coming May 3rd. Coming on May 3rd, a week from tomorrow. I'll tell you more about that. Anyway, we've got lots going on. So we got to get that calorie intake up. And so if you compare this to a candy bar, you're in a good place. 130 calories, 17 grams of protein, only 4 grams of sugar, as compared to 240 calories for 30 grams of sugar in your regular candy bar. What are you picking? You're picking Built Bar. And because you want that mint brownie or coconut almond in your cupboard, in your cabinet, or right by your desk where I sometimes keep them, we're going to give you a promo code so you can get 15% off your next order of delicious Built Bars. So head to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off your next order of Built Bars. That's right. If you head to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15, you will get 15% off your next order. Happy snacking. Locked On Kraken fans, we are back. We are back. And as promised, we're going to hear from Joey Daccord, but let me show you this release that we got. We got some news. Well, first of all, this actually came on Friday. And so Riker Evans, we agreed to terms with Riker Evans. And so he was, if Matty Beniers, as you know, was our first ever draft pick. Guess who was our second? A defenseman. You know, I like that. A defenseman, Riker Evans. He was our second ever draft pick, selected 35th overall in 2021. So now he's coming from the Regina Pats. He's a 6 foot, 109-pound blue liner with 131 points in the WHL this season. We're excited to sign our second. Let me show you this. This is the press release. We're excited to sign our second ever draft pick, Riker Evans, said Seattle Kraken general manager Ron Francis. He had a really impressive season with the Regina Pats, and we're looking forward to having him continue this development with our organization. So now that is a 3-year entry-level contract for Riker Evans. So that news came in on Friday. But today, we heard from the Seattle Kraken as they recalled some guys from our friends at the Charlotte Checkers. So now the cool thing is that the AHL affiliate for the Seattle Kraken for this season, the Charlotte Checkers, they have a bye in the AHL playoffs. And that means that good man Joey Daccord and Dennis Cholowski are coming to the Seattle Kraken. So you've got a goaltender and a defender coming over. They did practice with the Seattle Kraken today, Monday, and are going to be ready for the division rivalry against the Vancouver Canucks coming up tomorrow. Daccord has been amazing, like absolutely amazing for the Charlotte Checkers. Cholowski has logged top 4 minutes in Charlotte, including in their 2-1 division clinching victory against Providence over the weekend. He has 3 goals and 15 assists in 31 games, for Charlotte. And Joey Daccord has a 19-11-2 record and a save percentage, of .925. For the Charlotte Checkers. That second stat of .925 ranks him number 2 among all AHL goaltenders. So Joey Daccord joined the media today, and we're going to head over to hear what Joey Daccord has to say about coming back to Seattle and joining up with the Kraken.
Yeah, it's great. It's awesome. Anytime you get called up to the NHL, it's awesome. You know what I mean? There's nothing quite like it. So I'm just really excited. Ready to go. Well, I think you can rationalize it either way. You can say it's great or it's not great or whatever it might be. But for me, I'm just really excited that I'm here and getting more opportunities and I'm super excited for playoffs in Charlotte. Like I've been saying that for a while now. We were pushing really hard to get that first place and get that bye, and kind of opened up that opportunity for me to come here. So it all worked out really well, and I'm excited for this week here and being with the group for another week, and then heading back to Charlotte and hopefully going on a long run there.
So with these personnel changes, Cholowski coming in, Vince Dunn and Cole Lind are day-to-day. Andy Ide reporting that they did not practice at Kraken Community Iceplex today, Monday, ahead of tomorrow's game against Vancouver. When it comes to the goaltending, again, looking at reporting from Andy Ide and the media corps of the Seattle Kraken, all three goaltenders did hit the ice. And Dave Haxtell said this regarding Joey Decord joining up with the team.
Make typical game day decisions on the goaltending, but he's had a real good stretch down in Charlotte. He's done a great job for the group down there, and has earned the opportunity to be up here. In terms of a start, yeah, absolutely. I'd like to, we'll plan to, and we'll like to get him a start. Which one that'll be, like I said, we'll have that on game day. Yeah, I mean, again, he's coming off a good run down there. He's had a challenging season going, when he goes on waivers, and, he went through, a stretch in Washington where he didn't play a lot of hockey. But yet, once he got to Charlotte, he's had a good run there, and he's ready to go. Obviously, he's got good power play ability and some of the elements, if Dunner's not available, that'd fit in well. Well, it keeps them playing games, which is a positive, but that's, it's not really about that. For me, it's more, those guys have earned the opportunity to come here and have the opportunity to play. It's you always want things to be earned, especially, when guys play well down there and are earning that opportunity. You hope that you can reward them with that. So that's a big part of that. And if they get in, it's a real good opportunity for them to go out and play at a high level at this time of year in the NHL.
Joey, he had a rough go because of the injury to Drieger. A few times has come in to relieve, I should say, the Seattle Kraken. I like getting him a start. I like this. I mean, it's a season where you want I would argue Philip Grubauer in particular, and even Drieger to get some rest, give Joey Decord some reps at this level. I like this. And again, Cholowski coming in with Cole Lind and Dunn day to day. I like this. I like getting some of your young guys into this Seattle Kraken system, because let's remember, the Charlotte Checkers, yes, it's an affiliate with the Panthers, the AHL affiliate with the Panthers this season. But come next year, these guys are going to be where? In the Coachella Valley. So I like the idea of getting them into a system that's going to more long-term be the one that they'll be playing in. So we'll keep an eye on that as it develops. But it doesn't sound like there's any injury or fear of injury necessarily. Maybe some maintenance stuff going on at minimum, or at maximum, I guess, with Philip Grubauer and with Chris Drieger. But the plan is to give Joey Decord a start. It was good to hear from Joey. He's definitely got the custom gear on lock. We know our guys over at the Ottawa Senators are going to like seeing Joey get an opportunity and being up with the team. But like I mentioned, tomorrow's a game day, as it's going to be the Vancouver Canucks. We'll see what the Seattle Kraken can muster. I'd certainly like to see them get back into the win column. And on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Kraken, we're going to focus a little bit more, not just on what's happening with the Seattle Kraken, but as you heard Alexis at the top of the show mention, the Minnesota Wild getting that win was critical and integral as they move ahead and forge ahead to the playoffs. So what does the playoff picture look like? I'm not really focused on it, folks, because we're not going to be there. But as the season goes on, unfortunately without us, we will be keeping an eye on what's happening, and we'll keep you posted here on Locked On Kraken. As always, thank you for making Locked On Kraken a part of your daily routine. And now that you've listened to Locked On Kraken, it's time for you to go listen to Locked on NHL. Oh, again, an opportunity for you to get a recap and a synopsis of all of the most important news about what's happening in the league. You've got Gil Martin over there. You've got our good friend Rachel Donner. So many amazing people that help host Locked On NHL. So go give it a listen or a watch. Why don't you? And again, we'll be keeping very close tabs on Locked On NHL as we march into the postseason, because what else do we have to talk about? Anyway, hold fast, stay true. Congratulations to Locked On Wild and Bardown Beauties for winning the season series and bragging rights until next season. But tomorrow we say loud and proud, let's go Kraken. I'll see you on Tuesday, folks.